Buried among the belongings of a retired FBI behavioral science agent lies a heavily redacted cold case file, its pages stained with time, its details obscured by bias, speculation, and misleading leads. Case number 673421. No official title, only whispers of a shadow that stretched across decades. One theory, dismissed but never disproven, suggested the perpetrator was someone in law enforcement, a predator hiding behind a badge. The file exists because of a single witness, a child runaway, barely 13, who stumbled into a precinct in 1992 with a story too peculiar to ignore. The runaway spoke of a family, 3 children. 2 parents vanished from their home in McAllen, Starr County, Texas, without a trace. Authorities were ready to dismiss it as another case of disgruntled parents fleeing their lives, relocating off the grid. But the child insisted. A hooded figure in dark attire was seen leaving the property, dragging suitcases under the cover of night. The testimony was shelved for lack of evidence until a rookie FBI agent, combing the family's yard months later, found a needle in the haystack. Along a narrow walkway at an intersection in the backyard, a faint indentation in the grass, the mark of a suitcase wheel derailed off its path. Nearby, 2-minute fragments of paint, white and olive green, glinted under the agent's flashlight. That discovery cracked open a pattern. The runaway's family wasn't alone. 2 other families, linked by close friendships and children who knew one another, had also vanished. No paper trail, no bodies, no clues except the same eerie absence. The agent dug deeper, unearthing similar cases dating back to the 1960s, scattered across state lines. Over 35 years, entire families disappeared, always in threes, always tied by the bonds of their children. No common denominator united them, no shared religion, no shared profession, no shared geography. Just a hooded figure, a chip of paint, and a void where answers should be. Witnesses, when found, reported nothing suspicious. No screams, no signs of struggle. The agent's profile of the killer or killers remained incomplete. Meticulous, patient, invisible. The only certainty was the pattern and the chilling realization that these cases were not accidents. They were orchestrated. The evidence surfaced in 1992 in a family's yard in McAllen, a border town in Starr County, Texas, where the Rio Grande hums just miles away. McAllen is a place of contrasts, steeped in history and tethered to the pulse of the borderlands. Founded in 1904, it grew from a dusty railroad stop into a bustling hub, famous for its vibrant trade, citrus groves, and the annual Texas Square Dance Jamboree, where locals and visitors twirl under neon lights. It's a gateway to Mexico, a crossroads of cultures where ranchers, merchants, and migrants brush shoulders in the daily grind. The people of McAllen are resilient, warm, and tightly knit families who've worked the land for generations. Shopkeepers who know your name, and lawmen who patrol the quiet streets with a nod and a smile. Life here moves at a steady rhythm. Mornings begin with the clatter of markets and the aroma of fresh tortillas. Afternoons hum with the chatter of schoolyards and the buzz of warehouses. And evenings settle into the glow of porch lights and the distant strum of Tejano music. But beneath the surface, there's a watchfulness, a town that sees everything, yet says little. In 1992, when that suitcase track and those paint chips were found in a quiet McAllen backyard, the town seemed an unlikely stage for such a mystery. Was the killer a local, blending into the crowd at the jamboree? A border agent, slipping through checkpoints with ease? A warehouse worker, hauling crates under the cover of night? Or someone who'd already left, crossing the border, leaving only whispers and a trail too faint to follow? In a town where everyone knows everyone, how does a shadow move unseen? 4 years later, in 1996, the shadow moves to Asheville, a mountain city in Buncombe County, North Carolina, cradled by the ancient Blue Ridge Mountains. In the mid-90s, Asheville was a budding haven for artists and wanderers, its streets alive with folk music, craft markets, and the hum of a small-town renaissance. But beyond the city's glow lies the true heart of the region. A vast, dense forest of pine, oak, and hemlock stretching endless and untamed. The Blue Ridge Forest is a labyrinth of mist and shadow, where trails vanish into fog and the air carries the weight of secrets older than the mountains themselves. This is no ordinary wilderness. The forest is a living maze, dangerous and unforgiving. Hikers vanish without a trace, their screams swallowed by the canopy. Tangled roots snag the unwary, and sudden drops hide in the undergrowth. Locals speak of disorientation, a feeling of being watched, as if the trees themselves conspire to trap those who stray too far. In 1996, the forest claimed lives lost campers, reckless teens, even seasoned rangers, each disappearance feeding the lore that haunts Asheville's firesides. Appalachian folklore pulses through these woods, woven into the town's soul. Tales whisper of the Awampus cat, a half-woman, half-beast with glowing eyes, stalking those who wander at night. The Pecos Mothman, a winged harbinger of doom, is said to glide above the treetops, its red gaze marking the doomed. Ghostly figures like the brown mountain lights flicker in the distance, luring travelers off paths into oblivion. And then there's the Eason's spear finger, a hag with a stone finger that pierces hearts, her chants echoing in the wind. Locals tell of rituals, circles of stones, offerings of bone, left in clearings to appease these spirits, or to summon something worse. Some say the forest itself is alive, a vengeful entity that feeds on fear, its roots drinking the blood of the lost. In Asheville, everyone knows someone who's seen something. A shadow too tall, a whisper too human. Is the killer a recluse, carving sigils in the woods? A park ranger guiding victims to their end? An artist hiding horrors in plain sight? Or something older, something the forest has birthed, wearing a hood to walk among men? When a brown paper bag appears in a parking lot on the forest's edge, who left it? And what watches from the trees? It's a pitch-black night in mid-October, 1996, in Asheville, Buncombe County, North Carolina. Behind a row of industrial warehouses on the city's outskirts, a cracked, semi-decent parking lot stretches out, its edges fraying into the wild, dense forest of the Blue Ridge Mountains just 100 feet away. The trees towering pine, oak, and hemlock loom like silent sentinels, their branches clawing at a starless sky, shrouded in a low, creeping fog. 5 weathered park benches face east, staring into the forest's inky depths. The last bench, set apart from the others, is the only one with a rough stone table beside it. On that table sits a crumpled brown paper lunch bag, unassuming yet oddly out of place, as if placed with care. The air is crisp, heavy with the scent of damp moss, pine, and faint traces of rust from the warehouses, undercut by a strange, earthy tang like something rotting deep in the woods. 3 teenagers, Jake, Milo, and Sam, roll into the lot on their skateboards, their laughter and the clatter of wheels cutting through the oppressive stillness. They're in high spirits, pulling off tricks under the flickering glow of half-dead streetlights that barely pierce the fog. Shadows dance as the bulbs stutter, casting fleeting glimpses of the forest's edge, where the trees seem to lean closer. During a break, Milo spots a man stepping out of a door at the far end of the last warehouse. He's carrying a lunch bag, his silhouette vague in the dim light, his face obscured by a hood. The man shuffles to the bench with the stone table, sits for a moment, and glances toward the forest as if listening. Then he vanishes into the trees, his footsteps swallowed by the undergrowth. The boys shrug it off, probably just a worker on break, or some weirdo spooked by the forest tales. Hours pass. The skate session winds down, and Jake, restless for a new challenge, decides to try a trick on the stone table. As he approaches, he notices the brown paper bag still sitting there. Assuming it's trash, he grabs it to toss it aside, but it feels wrong, too heavy, with a distinct rectangular shape. Curiosity piqued, he peels it open and pulls out a dusty VHS tape. Unlabeled and worn, its edges faintly damp, as if it had been in the forest. Perplexed, he calls out to Milo and Sam, who are grinding rails at the far end of the lot. They jog over, snickering about some worker forgetting his dirty movie. But Sam pauses, frowning, his eyes darting to the forest. Wait, that guy didn't go back inside, and there's no car here. The realization hangs in the air, heavy as the fog. Jake remembers his dad's old VCR gathering dust in their basement. His parents are out of town for a few days. With a mix of excitement and unease, the boys glance at the forest, where a faint, unnatural rustle stirs the trees, and decide to see what's on the tape. The boys huddle in Jake's dimly lit basement, the air thick with the musty smell of old furniture and a faint whiff of pine from their clothes. They dig out a clunky TV and VCR, plug in the tape, and hit play. Static crackles at first, then the screen goes dark. Strange, muffled sounds, whispers, creaks, and a low rhythmic chant leak from the speakers before the footage shifts to grainy night vision. A bedroom comes into focus. A camera is carefully placed on a dresser, framing a bed where two figures sleep. A shadowy figure in dark clothing, hooded, moves with eerie precision. Without hesitation, they draw a long, gleaming object, a knife, and plunge it into one of the sleeping forms. The body convulses briefly before going still. The second figure stirs, but the attacker leaps over, subduing them in seconds. The figure returns to the camera, pauses, and tilts their head, as if aware of an audience, then picks it up and walks out. The screen cuts to black. The tape restarts. Now it's outside trees, bushes, and then the 5 benches from the Asheville parking lot slide into view, fog curling around them. The boys stiffen, exchanging nervous glances. It fades to black again, then flickers back on. This time, it's them, Jake, Milo, and Sam, skateboarding into the lot earlier that night, filmed from a distance, likely from within the forest's edge. Their laughter echoes faintly through the speakers, overlaid with a faint, unearthly hum. The realization hits, someone or something was watching them. The video cuts out, then resumes in a kitchen. The camera moves through a hallway, up a staircase, past closed doors, and into a bedroom. 2 figures lie in bed. The hooded figure reappears, creeping forward, their movements eerily silent. One sleeper wakes, but the attacker rushes over, silencing them. The second stirs and is quickly subdued. The figure approaches the camera, but the bedroom lights snap on. Jake gasps, his voice trembling. That's my parents' room." The figure turns, revealing one of the bodies. Jake's mom. Panic erupts. The boys scramble for their phones, but there's no signal. Milo stumbles, mumbling about eyes in the trees. Sam clutches his stomach, nausea overtaking him. Jake sways, disoriented, his eyes darting to the table where they'd grabbed snacks from the kitchen earlier. Poisoned. Sam collapses, gasping about a shadow with no face. Milo staggers toward the stairs, but crumples, muttering about a chant. Jake, the last one standing, stares at the TV as his vision blurs, the faint hum from the tape growing louder, like a ritual chant from the forest itself, then blacks out.
Good evening. This is Emily Carter, reporting live from an industrial area just outside the city, where a chilling mystery has unfolded. Behind me, you can see the parking lot where the boys were last seen. Witnesses report the trio was here around 10 p.m. As the investigation continues, this quiet parking lot has become the center of a haunting mystery.